Pisces, it's happening. The cards are showing wishes being fulfilled, joyful breakthroughs, and a beautiful new beginning. This feels like your reward season. Something is moving toward you right now that you have been waiting for a very long time. And I don't mean waiting the way you wait for a package or wait for a meeting to end. I mean the deep, quiet, sometimes aching kind of waiting that lives in your bones. The kind that doesn't have a countdown. The kind you've had to carry alone sometimes because explaining it to someone else required more vulnerability than you were ready to spend. The kind that made you lie awake at certain hours, not from worry exactly, but from a longing so specific and so alive inside you that the silence of the night was the only space big enough to hold it. That waiting is ending. Not metaphorically, not eventually, not if everything goes perfectly from here. Right now. In the actual weeks and days that your life is currently made of. Something that has been in motion beneath the surface of your ordinary existence is rising. And what it's rising to meet is you. The full, present, awake version of you who is watching this right now. I need you to feel that before we go a single step further. This reading is not about patience. It's not about holding on a little longer. It's about receiving what is already arriving. So take a breath, a real one, slow and full and into the bottom of your lungs. And open yourself to the possibility that this time, the cards are going to confirm what some quiet part of you has already been sensing. That it's actually happening. That the dream is actually coming true. We have 8 cards in front of us today, and every single one of them is speaking to the same unified truth from a different angle. That is not something that happens in every reading. When the cards align this completely around a single message, it is worth paying attention to the rarity of that. The universe is not speaking in scattered signals today. It is speaking in a clear, unified voice. And what it is saying is that your time of preparation is complete. Your season of becoming is transitioning into a season of receiving. Let's go into the cards together. The first card I pulled for you is the Star. And I want you to feel the full weight of this placement, because this is the foundation card of the entire reading. This is what everything else rests on. The Star is one of the most deeply personal cards in the entire major arcana. It doesn't speak about external events the way a lot of cards do. It speaks about what's happening inside you, and specifically about the state of your inner world after you've been through something hard. The image on this card is someone kneeling at the edge of water, under an open sky full of stars, and they are pouring water in 2 directions at once, replenishing both the earth and the pool, giving back what the journey took. And the atmosphere of the card is not triumph exactly. It's quieter than triumph. It's restoration. It's the quality of the air after a long storm has finally passed, and the world smells clean, and the sky has opened back up, and you're still a little disoriented from how long the storm lasted. But the relief underneath the disorientation is so enormous, it almost doesn't fit inside your body. That's the energy the Star carries. And it is the foundation of what's forming in your life right now. Which means that what is coming toward you is not just good fortune or external improvement. It is restoration. A return of something that the journey cost you. Hope that got worn down to a very small flame in some seasons, beginning to come back to full brightness. A sense of yourself as someone whose life can be what you imagined it being, rather than someone who is perpetually managing the gap between what you have and what you dreamed of. The star as your foundation card tells me that the dream that's coming true for you is not a new dream. It is the original one. The one you've been carrying for the longest. The one that survived everything. And the survival of that dream, through everything it went through, is the very thing that's making this moment possible. So before we move into the next card, I want you to just sit with the star for a moment. This card is not a coincidence in this position. It was drawn for a reason. It is speaking directly to the version of you who has been the most faithful to the dream, even when that faithfulness was costly and private, and sometimes felt like stubbornness more than wisdom. The star says that version of you was right. The hope was never misplaced. The inner knowing was never wrong. And the light that you kept returning to when things were dark was real. And it has been holding a place for you this whole time. The second card is the Wheel of Fortune. And this is where the reading shifts from talking about your inner state to talking about the actual mechanics of what's happening in your life right now. The Wheel of Fortune is one of the most dynamic cards in the deck. It is the card of turning points, of cycles completing, of moments when the invisible machinery of your life shifts into a new configuration. And there is something critically important to understand about the wheel that changes how you receive this card's energy. The wheel doesn't turn because of something you do in the moment it turns. It turns because of the cumulative weight of everything you've done and endured and held onto up to this point. This is not the card of sudden luck descending from nowhere. This is the card of earned arrival, of a cycle that has been in motion for a long time, finally reaching its completion point. Think about what cycles have been present in your life over the past several years. Patterns of working towards something without yet reaching it. Patterns of being close but not quite there. Patterns of holding a specific vision without yet seeing it materialize in the world. The wheel turning in your favor right now means those cycles are completing. The pattern of working toward without arriving is ending. And the pattern that replaces it, the one that's beginning right now, is the pattern of inhabiting what you've built, of living inside the life you created rather than building toward it from the outside. The wheel in this position also tells me something about timing. And I want to be direct about this because I know timing is the thing many of you have been most agonized by. Why now, after so long? Why did it take this long? And the wheel's answer to that is not philosophical or abstract. It's structural. The wheel operates on the logic of cycles, and cycles have their own timing that isn't negotiable. A seed planted in winter does not bloom in winter, no matter how perfectly it was planted or how faithfully it was tended. It blooms when the conditions for blooming arrive. Not as a reward for patience, not as a test of worthiness, simply because that is how cycles work. Your cycle has reached its blooming point. The conditions that support what you've been growing are now present in a way they weren't before. That is why now. Not as a commentary on whether you deserved it sooner, but as a description of where the wheel has arrived in its turning. And where it has arrived is here, in your favor, turning the full accumulated weight of everything you've built and endured and held onto into momentum that is now working for you, rather than asking more of you. The Sun. I pulled the Sun as the third card in your reading, and I am going to take a moment before I say anything else to just acknowledge what it means to draw the star, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Sun in the same reading, because this combination is extraordinary. These are three of the most powerfully positive major arcana cards in the deck, and they are all speaking in the same language in this reading, and they are all speaking directly to you. The Sun is the card of joy, not the quiet, restoring joy of the star, and not the structural turning of the wheel. The Sun is the big joy, the visible, undeniable, radiating outward joy that you cannot contain and don't want to contain, and that other people around you can feel when you walk into a room. The Sun is the card of your dream arriving in a form that is so real and so full and so exactly what you imagined that there is no part of you left that has to work to believe it. This card represents the moment I described at the beginning of this reading. The moment when the imagined version and the real version finally overlap so completely that you can barely tell the difference between them anymore. When the thing you held in your inner world for so long is suddenly and undeniably present in your outer world, and the only response available is the one the body provides automatically. Full, complete, overwhelming joy. The Sun appearing in this position is telling you that this is not just a reading about incremental improvement or gradual progress towards something still far away. This is a reading about arrival. The Sun doesn't show up in a reading to describe the middle of the journey. It shows up to describe the destination. And the destination is close enough right now that its light is already reaching you. You may have felt it without knowing what it was. A sudden, inexplicable sense that things are about to shift. A moment of warmth in the chest for no immediate reason. A dream in the night that left you feeling inexplicably hopeful when you woke. That's the Sun beginning to make itself felt. And the full experience of what it represents, the full arrival of the joy it's describing, is not in some abstract future. It is in the very near reality of your actual days. Let yourself feel that, not as a hope, as an incoming truth. I want to talk about the fourth card in a specific way because it's the first card we've drawn from the minor arcana, and it's coming in reversed, which is meaningful. The Four of Cups reversed is the card of opening back up after a period of withdrawal. In its upright position, the Four of Cups represents a kind of introspective disengagement. Someone sitting with arms crossed, eyes downcast, not receiving what's being offered. Turned inward, past the point of usefulness. And there are seasons in life when that turning inward is exactly what you need. When the world asks too much, and the only sustainable response is a kind of protective withdrawal, where you tend to yourself and let the outside wait. Many of you have been in some version of that season. Not giving up exactly, but turned inward enough that the opportunities and the openings and the extended hands around you weren't fully registering because you were focused on just keeping yourself intact. But this card is reversed. And in reversal, the Four of Cups is the opening of the eyes, the lowering of the arms, the moment when the protective withdrawal has served its purpose and the person on the card finally lifts their gaze and sees that there is something being offered that wasn't there or wasn't visible before. There is a reason this card falls in the fourth position of this reading, right after three of the most powerful positive cards in the deck. Because what those three cards are describing, the restoration of the star, the turning of the wheel, the arriving joy of the Sun, requires you to be open to receive them. And the Four of Cups reversed is telling you that you are ready. That the part of you that withdrew to survive is beginning to trust the light again. That the opening is happening on the inside at the same time that the dream is arriving from the outside. You don't have to manufacture that openness. You don't have to perform it or force it. The card is telling you it's already happening in you naturally. The eyes are already beginning to lift. The arms are already beginning to lower. The part of you that held everything at a guarded distance while you healed is beginning to let what's arriving actually in. Let that be true. Let the opening continue. What is coming is safe to receive. The fifth card is the Three of Pentacles, and this is the card in the reading that I want to speak to most specifically about what is visibly, concretely happening in your material life right now. because everything I've said so far has been about energy and cycles and inner states. And I know that at some point you want me to talk about the actual, tangible, real-world substance of what's forming. The Three of Pentacles is that card. This is the card of work coming to visible fruition, of effort that was invisible for a long time, beginning to produce results that other people can see, of a collaboration or a contribution or a craft that you have put real time and real care into, finally beginning to be recognized in a way that has material weight. There is something that you have been working on, building, developing, or contributing to that is about to become significantly more real in the concrete external world. Not real in the sense of you believing in it more, real in the sense of other people seeing it. Real in the sense of it producing something tangible and sustaining in your actual life. For some of you, this is vocational, a project, a venture, a body of work, a skill set that has been in development through a period that may have felt more like a proving ground than a launching pad, and that is now entering a phase where the proving is complete and the launching can begin. For others of you, this is relational, something you have built together with another person, whether that's a partnership or a collaboration or a shared vision, that is now beginning to produce its real fruit. For others still, it is about the material conditions of your life more broadly, about the structures and stability and concrete foundations of your everyday existence becoming more solid, more intentional, more fully yours. But whatever the specific content of it is for you, the Three of Pentacles in this position is unambiguous. Your work is being seen. Your contribution is being valued. The effort that went into the preparation period is now becoming the foundation of something real. And the phrase I want you to hold on to from this card is this: what you built in the waiting is what you get to live in during the arriving. The work was never wasted. It was always preparation. And the preparation is now becoming the thing itself. The Ace of Cups in the 6th position of this reading is one of the most tender and significant cards I have pulled for you today, and I want to give it the full space it deserves. The Ace of Cups is the card of new emotional beginnings, of the heart opening to receive something it has been carefully protecting itself from receiving for a long time. Not because the heart didn't want it, because the heart got hurt enough times that wanting it and then not having it became more painful than simply keeping the wanting contained. There is an emotional dimension to what's arriving for you right now that the Ace of Cups is speaking to directly. And the word I want to use for it is overflow. The cup on this card is overflowing. It's not half full. It's not adequately full. It is overflowing, pouring outward in every direction, more than enough, more than containing, a fullness that spills. And that is what's coming for you emotionally. Not a careful, guarded, measured amount of good feeling. Overflow. The kind of emotional fullness where you stop managing how much you let yourself feel, because what's arriving is so real and so good that managing it is no longer possible. And I want to speak to the tears that this card is connected to, because they are a specific kind of tears. They're not the tears of relief that something painful is ending, though there may be some of that. They are the tears of the Ace of Cups overflowing through your eyes, your body's version of what a cup looks like when it's too full to contain what's in it. When you feel those tears come, and I believe many of you will, I want you to understand exactly what they are. They are the physical expression of an emotional truth that has become too large to stay interior. They are joy that has exceeded the capacity of your containment. They are the proof that what you dreamed was real. Let them come. They are not a signal that something is wrong. They are the signal that something is exactly, perfectly, finally right. And the fullness that follows them, on the other side of the overflow, is going to feel like nothing you felt in a very long time. Like warmth that doesn't have a source because it's coming from everywhere at once. Like the particular quality of peace that is only available on the other side of having wanted something deeply for a long time and then actually receiving it. The Seven of Wands reversed is the seventh card, and this one is speaking to something I want to address directly because I think it's sitting in the room for many of you, even if you haven't named it out loud. The Seven of Wands upright is the card of defense, of someone standing their ground on high ground, holding off challenges from below, fighting to maintain a position against sustained opposition. It's a card of necessary resistance, of refusing to cede what you've rightfully claimed. And many of you have been living in some version of this energy for a significant period of time, defending something, holding a position that others challenged or doubted or actively worked against, standing your ground on behalf of the dream, on behalf of your version of your own life, on behalf of what you know to be true about yourself, even when the evidence in the world around you seemed to suggest otherwise. That fight has been real and it has cost something. Not everything, because you're still standing, because you held the ground, but something. And the Seven of Wands in reversal in this position is telling you something important. That particular fight is ending. The position you held no longer needs to be defended the way it did. Not because you lost the ground, but because the ground has been fully secured. The opposition that made the defensive stance necessary is losing its power. The doubts from outside and the doubts from inside are losing their ability to destabilize what you've built. And the energy you were spending on maintaining the stance, on holding the ground, on not letting what you'd claimed be taken back, can now be redirected into something entirely different, into receiving, into allowing, into stepping fully into the dream rather than guarding the perimeter of it. The reversed Seven of Wands is permission to lower your guard. Not to be naive, not to become careless, but to recognize that the sustained vigilance that the previous season required is no longer the primary work. The primary work now is inhabiting what you held so carefully, living inside it rather than defending it from outside. The guard has been standing a long time. It can finally rest. The World. This is the final card, the eighth card, the completion card of this entire reading. And I want to say something about the fact that the World fell as the closing card of a reading that began with the Star, included the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun, and has been building to this moment across every card we've pulled. Because the World is the final card of the major arcana. It is the card of completion in the most profound sense. Not the completion of a task or a project or a goal, though it can include those things. The completion of a chapter. The full arrival at a place you have been making your way toward across a significant span of your life. The World shows a figure at the center of a wreath, surrounded by the symbols of all four elements, dancing. And the dancing matters. This figure is not arriving and collapsing with exhaustion, even though the journey was long enough to justify that. This figure is arriving and dancing. Because completion at this level does not produce exhaustion. It produces an aliveness that might actually surprise you with its intensity. You have been so long in the mode of working toward that when the arriving happens, the aliveness of it, the way it makes your whole system feel suddenly and completely lit up, might feel almost unfamiliar at first. Like a muscle that's been held tense for so long that when it finally releases, you almost don't recognize the sensation of release. But your body knows what it is. Your body is going to know exactly what it is. And what it is the world, the arrival, the completion, the culmination of a journey that you have been on for longer than this reading can fully honor. The version of your life that you imagined, the specific one, the one that has lived in you through every season that tried to talk you out of it, is completing its translation from inner vision to outer reality. The world is not a card about what's next. It's a card about what's now, about standing inside the fullness of what you have earned your way into, about letting the arrival be the arrival without immediately reaching past it for the next thing, about being fully present in the moment when the dream and the reality finally meet, when you can look at your life and see the shape of what you imagined looking back at you from the actual, real, living world. I want you to let that in. I want you to let the world be the word that sits in your chest when this reading ends, not as an aspiration, not as a promise about the future, as a description of what is currently, actively, really forming around you. This is the world coming into your life, your actual life, the one you're living right now. Let me speak to you directly now that we've gone through all 8 cards, because there's something that needs to be said outside of the individual card meanings. What you just received in this reading is not a collection of positive cards that happen to come up in a fortunate arrangement. What you received is a unified, coherent, deeply specific message from the energy that is present around you right now. The star through the world. The restoration through the arrival. The inner world through the outer reality. Every card pointing in the same direction. And that direction is toward you, toward the life you dreamed, toward the specific version of your own future that you have been holding in your imagination with enough faithfulness and enough stubbornness and enough love for it to survive everything that tried to erode it. I want to say something to the version of you who has been the most private about this dream. The one who stopped talking about it at some point because the talking made the gap between wanting and having feel too wide. The one who learned to dress the dream in smaller language when it did come up, so the full size of the wanting wouldn't be too exposed. The one who kept the dream alive in the interior, even when the exterior was giving no encouragement at all. I want to speak directly to that version of you, because that version of you is the reason we're here. The dream didn't survive because circumstances were favorable. The dream survived because you were faithful to it. Because you refused to let what was visible in the world around you be more real to you than what was felt in your own inner knowing. That is a rare quality. That is the quality that makes dreams actually come true rather than simply fade into the softened version of wanting smaller things, because smaller things hurt less when they don't arrive. You didn't do that. You kept the dream full size and private and alive. And the proof that that was the right choice is in front of you right now, in the form of 8 cards speaking in absolute unison about what is coming for you. You were right. The thing you saw was real. The life you believed was possible is possible. The voice inside you that said, "This is what I'm meant for," was telling you the truth the entire time. The tears that may be coming for you, the ones that I described at the beginning of this reading, the ones with a particular warmth of joy in them, those are not a sentimental response to a tarot reading. Those are the body's recognition of truth. When they come, when you feel that warmth moving through your chest and up into your eyes, know exactly what they are. They are the overflow of the Ace of Cups. They are the wheel completing its turn. They are the star's light finally reaching all the way into the places inside you that have been waiting in the dark. They are the physical sensation of a dream arriving. Let them come. Let them complete. What is on the other side of them is the full, unguarded, inhabitable joy of the sun and the world arriving in your actual life. And what a thing that is. What an extraordinary, earned, long-awaited thing that is. Your dream is finally coming true. Not eventually, not someday. Now. In the days that are already here. In the life that is already your life. The dream is becoming real. Let it. Leave a comment and tell me which card spoke to you most, and tell me about the dream, the specific one, the one that has lived in you the longest. Putting it into words after you've held it quietly for so long is part of how you fully claim it. And claiming it, without the apologetic hedging that long waiting can install in a person, is part of how it fully arrives. I want to hear it. And stay close to this channel because the story of your dream coming true is still being written, and I want to be here with you as every new chapter of it opens. It's happening. It's yours. It's now.